Hello everyone, this is Dr. Radvi and today we will see how online trading is done. In the very first step, the investor approaches a broker or a sub-broker and says that I want to open a demat account. A demat account is specifically an account which is created by the investor in order to trade or in order to put his physical securities into e-securities. Once he enters into an agreement with the broker, who is now known as member, because he is a member of the stock exchange, he signs something known as a member client agreement if he is dealing directly with the broker. In case if he approaches a sub broker, then he will be signing something known as broker sub broker client tri-party agreement if he is dealing with a sub broker. Now why this contract or why this agreement has to be signed? This is signed in order to ensure in order to give the power or right to the broker or the sub broker, as the case may be, to execute the trades on his behalf, that is on client's behalf, from time to time. Now who is the client over here? This is the client, that is investor is known as a client, broker is known as a member, the sub broker is known as a sub broker. So investor, if he approaches a broker, he is signing something known as a member client agreement. Investor, if he approaches a sub broker, then he will be signing something known as a broker or member client sub broker tri-party agreement. That is what it is written: broker sub broker client tri-party agreement. Moving ahead, what are the details that are to be furnished by an investor? The very first detail which is mandatory is your permanent account number. Then you have to specify the name, date of birth, photograph, educational qualification, occupations, residential status, bank and depository account details. These details have to be furnished by the investor. If registered with any other broker, then the name of that broker and the concerned stock exchange and the client code number in the client registration form also has to be mentioned. All brokers have been mandated to use the unique client code that is linked to the PAN details of the respective client, which will be acting as an exclusive identification of the client. So if you are opening a demat account without having a PAN number, you cannot open it, because your client ID would be linked with that PAN number, and this acts in order to facilitate the tax calculation when you are filing your tax returns. Further, once this procedure and all these informations are submitted, the broker would be opening something known as a trading account in name of the client for buying and selling of securities. In case if the client is having any type of physical securities, now he can execute the process of something known as dematerialization. Dematerialization is basically conversion of physical securities into electronic securities, wherein the physical securities now are rendered to be cancelled, and in place of those physical securities, e-security is issued and it remains in the demat account of the client. Then the step 2 is regarding investor would be opening something known as a beneficial owner's account. He would be having something known as a beneficial owner account. This beneficial owner account in normal terms or in general terms is known as a demat account. The broker in this case is known as a depository participant, or for short DP. He would be going to the DP and he would be opening something known as a demat account. Once he opens the demat account, he would be linking it with a bank account. If he doesn't have a bank account, then he has to open a bank account. So if an investor has a bank account, he opens a demat account and links with his own existing bank account. If he doesn't have a bank account, he has to open a demat account and he has to open a bank account in order to trade in securities. Now the investor can buy or sell the securities through the broker. Let us move ahead. The orders which are executed on the stock exchange by the broker on behalf of the client as per the orders of the client are matched as per price and time priority. What does this price and time priority mean? Price and time priority means when an order is entering into the stock exchange, that order is considered to be an active order. Any active order would be matched with passive orders which are already there on the stock exchange. So if, for example, as indicated over here, the time is 10:10 a.m. At 10:10 a.m., if I put an order to buy XYZ Limited security of rupees 100 and I want to buy one share of XYZ Limited. So at 10:10 when I put this order onto the stock exchange, this order is considered to be an active order. At 10 rupees, if I am buying one share, what the stock exchange mechanism does is that at 10:10 whatever orders which are existing on the stock exchange, it would be comparing and it would be matching all of these orders with the orders which are placed before 10:10 of rupees 10 rupees. So I am buying, so a matching order needs to be there of 10 rupees of one share or at before 10:10 of rupees 10. As a result, these two orders are matched and the transaction is executed. Moving ahead, once the order has been successfully executed, a message is displayed on the broker's terminal that an order has been executed. Like it is displayed over here, order has been successfully executed. This message gets displayed on the broker's terminal, and similarly, if I am doing the trading on my account itself, then this message would be displayed in my demat account as well. Further, trade confirmation slip is sent to the investor. This trade confirmation slip indicates that yes, through the broker, through this particular account, through this of this particular transaction ID at this particular time on this particular date of this particular company, these many shares were either sold or bought by the investor. This is sent to the investor to inform that the transaction was actually executed. This becomes the first confirmation that the second confirmation that a trader or an investor receives. Once this trade confirmation slip is generated, within 24 hours of executing this particular transaction, a broker has to issue something known as a contract note to the investor. This contract note plays a very important role because if this is not issued, it is considered that the investor did not undertake the transaction. The contract note is confirmation of trades done on the particular day on behalf of the client by the broker. It imposes a legally enforceable relationship between the client and the broker for settlement of the trade. This is used in case of dispute settlement. In case if the investor does not receive either the securities or the funds that was supposed to be received by him, this contract note becomes a legally enforceable thing that he can use in order to settle the transactions in the stock exchange. Moving ahead, this contract note looks like this, wherein order code is executed. It is unique and assigned by the stock exchange. This order code matches with the respective opposite transaction which is undertaken. This helps the stock exchange to identify from where the securities have to go to which account and from where the funds have to go into which account. The step 8 is regarding the bifurcation of the days. Nowadays, from January 2023 onwards, the trading settlement cycle is T plus 1. Earlier it used to be T plus 2. Now what these T plus 1 stand for? T stands for the trading day. 1 stands for the activities which are performed inside the stock exchange. Now on the trading day, the trades are executed. On the T plus 1 day, that is the next day, pay in occurs and pay out occurs. Now let us see what are these pay in and pay out. Okay, step 1 to 6 would be completed on the trading day, that is you got the trade confirmation slip and you got the contract note. On the T+1 we would be seeing ahead. Okay. On the T+1 day, what has to be done? Buyer has already given the money to the buyer's broker, so it is lying with the broker's account. Similarly, the seller has already deposited his securities to the seller's broker. T+1, on that particular day, the buyer's broker transfers the fund to the stock exchange. Similarly, the seller's broker transfers and deposits the shares in the stock exchange. Once this is done, the stock exchange for it is pay in, because funds are also transferring inside and the shares are also transferring inside. Moving ahead, now what the stock exchange does is that it crosses the particular transaction. The buyer's broker, because he has bought the shares and he has paid the money, he receives the share. Okay, this comes into the buyer's broker's account. Similarly, because the seller has sold the shares to receive the fund, the seller's broker receives the fund. Okay, this is cross which is happening. The seller would be receiving the money which are there, which he receives from the seller's broker's account. Okay, seller's broker transfers the money to the seller now over here, and the seller is very happy because he receives the money. Similarly, the buyer would be receiving the shares, so he is also happy. So the buyer's broker receives the shares in his account and he transfers the shares to the buyer over here. So this is how online trading procedure is completed. The point to be noted over here is that if the buyer doesn't have the required funds, the transaction will not go till T+1. That is, he cannot buy the securities. Similarly, if the seller does not have the securities, he cannot sell it. As a result, this transaction will also not be able to be undertaken. So this is how the process of online trading is executed. Thank you and have a nice day.